Hey, welcome everybody. I am Coach Les, and I'm here with Mr. John Yarwood from Yarwood's Martial Arts, and we are here doing the Yma Mat Chat, talking about benefits and lifestyle support from martial arts proficiencies. And we are looking at martial arts life skills, and today we're talking about reasons parents want their kids to join karate in general. Last week we covered physical fitness and health, discipline and focus, self-defense skills, confidence and self-esteem, respect and courtesy, goal setting and achievement, and we stepped into stress relief and emotional regulation. So with that, today we're going to be starting off with social skills and friendships. And as we get into this, one of the things I love to create is a context from which people listen to what we're doing and why we're doing it. And we created this Yma Chat StreamYard objective to really give people an insight as to why to look at martial arts. Maybe not even just the Taekwondo that we do, but other martial arts and how they can benefit you as a human being, you as a family, you as a business, you as raising kids and having kids that are dealing with so many social issues, more so than, it seems like even talking to people my parents' age, and I'm 60, so we're talking to 80-year-olds, it seems that this new generation is faced with a nightmare of social requirements, problems, issues. And so in sharing this, there's much more to martial arts than what happens in the classroom, where you hit bags, punch things, use weapons. That's maybe now, as I begin my journey, my view is, and we'll hear from Mr. Yarwood here in just a second. For me, it's like 95% of martial arts isn't even in the classroom, isn't even on the mats. It's outside and what can be made available. Now, is this all martial arts schools? No. I'm sorry to say many of them have different ideas and are not concerned with what you do outside of the classroom walls. What makes Yarwood Martial Arts different that I've learned in the last 2 years is Mr. Yarwood's commitment to what gets delivered outside of the classroom and the impact that has on the family. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Mr. Yarwood. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, sir. So a lot of what we do in our school has nothing to do directly with the physical martial art itself. We use that more as a conduit to develop other aspects of our students' lives. A big reason that parents bring their kids to our school, we hear is they're struggling with school in terms of making friends, being part of groups, being part of social groups, those types of things. They might have one or two friends in school, but they just maybe they're what the mainstream student body thinks is different, right? We don't look at it that way. We look at it as every kid has the possibility to be awesome, to be great. And when they come into our school, our number one thing for them is to make them feel like they're part of our school, like they're part of our family, part of our community. And when they come in, a lot of our students are typically kids who maybe don't fit in to football or to soccer or to volleyball or any of the organized sports that the public schools offer. Maybe they're not physically gifted, or maybe they're socially struggling with making friends, those types of things. Maybe they don't really, the team concept of sports just isn't what they like to do. So they're more individual. So what we like to do is offer an opportunity for them to come in and be that individual with they're doing their, when they're training in Taekwondo, they're their own competition. They're their own drive. They're their own motivation, because when they come in, their goal. I mean, most students' goal when they come in is to earn a black belt, right? We put them in an environment that's going to allow them to grow, to foster that individuality that they have, and in the same time, they're going to be making friends who are kind of on the same path. So we have our own social group within our school, right? It's someplace where they come in. We don't treat them any differently than anybody else. Everybody gets the same amount of attention. Everybody gets the same training, the same. We love all of our kids, and we want to make sure that they're all thriving in their environment, not only within our school, but then they can go back to their regular school and feel confident in who they are. And ultimately, having that confidence will hopefully help them make more friends, become part of other groups, and just be part of the community that they're in when they're in school, because they only spend a little bit of time with us. But when we have them, we want to make sure that they're getting what they need from us, so that they can go out into the real world where they spend most of their time and be able to not feel uncomfortable in situations, to be able to make friends, to be able to join other groups, to be able to go to the lunchroom and not feel like they have to sit by themselves, or only have a group of friends, or have other people looking at them differently because maybe they like different things than most people. That stuff to us, that's what makes them all unique. That's what we love about our students, is that they all have their own story, and we love to hear those stories, and we love to enhance those stories and become part of their stories. So that's a huge part for us. Creating friendships within our school. We know our parents too, that bring their students in, make friends within our school. I mean, we have a lot of parents who hang out together outside of the school. Sometimes I'm not even invited to those events. It's like, well, I'm the one who brought everybody together, but I don't get invited. But it's awesome because I know that what we're providing for them is more than just the physical taekwondo on the mats. We're providing them a community, a family, somewhere that they feel part of, that they feel important within. So that's a huge part for us, is the social skills and the friendships that our kids are developing through the taekwondo that we're teaching them.
It's so funny that you say that, because for me, I look at, I was just looking at the 11 martial arts life skills that we're also working on sharing with people on Mat Chat. And we started with attitude, respect, and discipline, and goals. And I can see how the conversation that we're having fits into those 4, and how it fits into the other 7 goals. Integrity, perseverance, focus, confidence, dedication, communication, and belief. And the one that's really strung out to me in this social skills and friendships is belief. So many times people are watching the social media and the Facebook and TikTok and Snapchat and all these other things, and comparing themselves to the people they see, the influencers.
Yep.
And, oh, I'm not good enough. I wish I could be like this person. Oh, it'd be so good. La, 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 la. Back and forth, back and forth. And it is because it's so readily available on this thing called a cell phone and on iPads. I think we've lost the reality and the ability of being real with another human being. And it's so easy to condemn somebody, to look down on somebody, to say something stupid, to actually say something that can hurt another individual. And when we're in person, there's, out of the 85 to 95% of communication that's nonverbal, we don't communicate those things because there's so much going on nonverbally between you and the other person or the group that you don't say those things. You restrain. And I can't remember who shared this with me. I believe it was one of the instructors of the training and development company that I worked for, and they literally said, look less. You have somewhere between 80 and 90,000 thoughts a day. We don't have to experience or hear those thoughts. They don't have to be recreated verbally out of your mouth. And there are some things that are better left unspoken or unsaid because they don't really epitomize your point of view or who you are. They may be a retort to something or a reaction to something, and taken out of context may be very damaging to the group or to another person. And I'm excited to share that I probably have taken 60 to 70% of the poop that comes out of my mouth and stopped sharing it. And my life has gotten that much better because of it. The respect I have from people around me has leveled up in that space. And I invite y'all to take it on for a week and see. Don't share everything that comes up into your brain. Hold on to it and see what shows up. Like, see what opens up for you inside of this conversation. Oh, back over to you.
Yep. So the next thing we hear a lot, well, is, and it kind of goes, it dovetails with this really great, is this, we create a structured and safe environment for our students. When they come into our school, they know exactly what to expect. When we talk about discipline, they know where they're supposed to stand. They know how they're supposed to act. They know how they're supposed to respond. They know how they're supposed to speak. They develop the structure in their life that helps them thrive. Because if you give them some guardrails, they know exactly where they're supposed to be. They can bump off them, but that's how they're learning, right? But we keep that path illuminated for them so they know where they're going. And that, we tie that in with the goals. We tie that in with discipline and structure, all those things, right? And it's a safe environment for them to come into, because they're treated with respect. Everybody is treated, like they're the most important person here, because we want to make sure that they feel that. They want to make sure that they believe that, because it's true, right? So they know walking into our school, the first thing they're going to do is feel welcome. We try and say hello to everybody as soon as they come in the door. We yell their name, hey, good morning, good afternoon, hello, whatever, when they're leaving. All those things, they're always made to feel like that we know that they're there. We know that they're important. They feel like they're part of what we're doing. And when we create that safe environment for them, we know that they're going to be more open to learning. They're going to be more open to being able to express who they are, to talk about things that maybe they feel uncomfortable talking about in other places. It's just that whole atmosphere of what we do and how we treat each other in our school helps them to be able to thrive. And then when they take that outside, they are more comfortable with who they are and how they speak and who they talk to and the respect that they're showing. And it really kind of helps them to develop that whole aura of themselves, what we call beyond the mats, when they go outside the door. So that structured and safe environment is vital for them to be able to come in and have a great learning experience, to be able to excel at what they're doing, and then take that with them. So when they go to school, when they're at home, when they're with their friends, with their whatever, that starts to help them to be able to develop that environment around themselves and to have people treat them the way they want to be treated. So it's a huge part of what we do. And also having that structure and safe environment, they're going to learn the physical stuff. We're not going to put them in situations that they might get hurt, that they might feel like it's something that they're not capable of doing. We're always encouraging them to grow past where they are and to become a better, not only a better martial artist, but a better person, a better community member.
So one of the things that I want to go back to and just spend a moment with is the improved academic performance. I look at inside of the structured and safe environment, inside of the social skills and friendships, what I see is students that share with me, they're much more happy to do homework. They're not scared of getting too good a grade anymore because people will ridicule them if they get a straight A and they don't get things done. Or they level up because they see the freedom in putting that hard work in, just like they did on the mat, putting that hard work in on homework. Like
Yep.
it takes something to do it outside of the classroom, which
Yep.
is something I know you're very adamant about. It's like, look, you don't get enough time with me on the floor. So some of the work you have to do in front of a mirror somewhere in your time blocking and maintenance for your life, and scheduling, to be able to put all these pieces in, much like learning a form in Taekwondo, looking to see, so what's the form for my math class? What's the form for my English class, my history class?
Yep.
And being able to see the big picture, which then gives you the impetus when you hit these brick walls.
Yep. Actually, I teach to my students in 3 different areas, right? The places that they are. The first place is obviously they're in the dojo on the mats, learning Taekwondo, learning the life skills while doing all the other things. But the other 2 parts of that triangle are when they leave the dojo. And when we get to the school piece, I have requirements for them that they need to be doing their homework, that they need to be, taking time when they get home from school. If they have homework, first thing they do is sit down and do it, right? They get a snack and they do their homework. Our goal is to make sure that that the important things have to be taken care of first. And that's, their academics are vital. And if they're not doing those things, then for us, we look at it as, okay, if you're not dedicating yourself to your schoolwork, if you're not dedicating yourself to the things that you need to do, then when you come into the gym, into our dojo, well, we're going to focus on teaching you those things, but you also have to understand that your accountability is important. And if you're not doing what you're supposed to do outside the mats, then you don't get to do the things like test for your next belt, for your next rank in the school, right? So the education piece is a big part of what we do. We put that into their hands to say, hey, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do at school, then you don't get the privilege of doing what we do here at the dojo, right? You don't get the privilege of ranking up to your next rank because you're not ready, because you're not doing what you're supposed to do outside of the school, right? So we make sure that academics are a main focus for what we do. We talk to them all the time about how they're doing in school. We actually send them a teacher slip so the teacher can tell us how they're doing in school. So it's not just what they tell us. Yeah, well, I'm doing great. Well, the teacher says something different, right? So we make sure that the teacher is involved in that as well, so that they understand that, hey, we're paying attention to you while you're outside of school and not just while you're here.
And I would say that it's the biggest shock factor when I've seen you meeting with people or talking with people, because I've interviewed, probably a dozen or more people, parents, and to hear them say, yeah, I saw that it would help them in their schoolwork, but I didn't believe it until it actually happened.
Right.
And so there's the reality that comes from that, in that improved academic performance. And some of the ways it shows up is kids are more able to focus. They're focused on the tasks ahead of them. So many times we get, thanks to these lovely mobile phones or even TVs or computers, we get lost in our own thoughts. And I don't know about you, John, and you can share, Mr. Yarwood, about this when in just a moment. But this is a dangerous place to play. Between my ears, it's, for me as a spiritual man, it's the place where the enemy likes to mess with me. And the more time I spend in my head, the more the enemy can mess with me. And today, more than ever, I see that happening to the point where people are not even able to get up. Some kids aren't even able to get out of bed. You know, I mean, I was talking with my business partner, Jeff, who worked at a place where he worked with a lot of very beautiful women. And they were extremely intelligent, had everything going for them, making extraordinary money. You know, financially, they were ahead, no debt, nice car, you know, and beautiful human beings. And yet they couldn't get out of bed during the day. And he's like, what? And when he heard this and started hearing this, he's like, what do you mean? Why don't you go walk around the lake and look at the beauty of nature? No, you know, I was looking at Facebook, or I was looking at this, and I saw this, and I just wished it was me. And it's like, whoa, it can be you. It can be you. That's the whole thing, is that I think that as they learn that they have this innate power within them, not just spiritual, but also this mental and physical, to be able to perform the forms, perform breaking a brick, breaking a board, you know, doing a form with a weapon, and seeing how they can level themselves up skill-wise. And they take that same thing out into their life, and they realize, wow, I am at choice. I get to choose.
Yep.
So there you go. Over to you.
Yeah. So that's a big thing, that, you know, there's a lot of time spent by yourself, like you said, in your thoughts, you know, or just not doing anything. Your brain is completely dead, and all you're doing is filling it with whatever it is that you're looking at on the phone or on the computer. You're not really doing anything. Your brain isn't really functioning, but it's taking in all this stuff, right? But then when you go to actually apply things, that's what's in your brain, right? So you have to be able to filter through all that stuff and get to what reality is. And the more time they spend on their phone, the more time they spend just staring, you know, over and over, scroll, it just messes with their head, right? And I see it constantly when we bring these kids in, and first, it's hard for them to focus on what it is that we're doing, right? I have to reteach them how to pay attention to what it is that we're doing. It's such a huge part of our training. So I can, especially these brand new students that are coming in, parents are like, he's not focused. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. Well, let me tell you why, right? What's the first thing you do when your kid says he's bored? You hand him your phone. You hand him a tablet. That doesn't help them at all, right?
It only helps you get rid of them for the moment.
They're a lot of times, and I'm not, you know, bashing parents, but the problem is them, right? If your kid is sitting there and they're causing trouble, and all you do is hand them something to keep them quiet, you're feeding right into that demon, right? You're creating this monster that now you're probably having issues with at school, or out when you're out at Target, or wherever it is. They're starting to give you problems because all they're doing is wanting to stare at that phone, right? It's a hard lesson to learn, but you have to be able to take that phone away from them, take that iPad away from them, let them deal with the withdrawal issues, put them into an activity or like martial arts, to be able to get them back out into the real world, right? Keep that thing away from them. I'm not saying we're never, you know, don't ever give them the opportunity to use it, right? But when it's their constant companion, it's the person that's always in their brain, you're not going to be able to do anything about that. As a parent, you're going to lose control of them, and then you're going to wonder why when this kid becomes a teenager, he's the biggest problem you've ever seen, right? You got to make sure that you are having the discipline that we're teaching them, to not give them that opportunity to just lose themselves in that phone, right? Get them out on the mats. Make sure, like when I always tell my parents, when they're training outside of the school, which they should be doing, you have to put them on a schedule. You have to say, okay, this time on this day, we're spending 30 minutes doing taekwondo. We're not on the phone. We're not on an iPad. We're not doing anything. We're training. We're practicing. We're learning, right? You put on the uniform, everything. Find a place every single time is exactly the same. Starting to teach them those things, that phone or that iPad isn't what's important, because that's creating more problems than it's solving. It's unfortunate, but I see it almost constantly.
Yeah. I think when, if you look at the parents that get away from electronics, that take their kids on a walk, a nature hike, they go camping, they put them into an activity that sends them out into the wilderness, they take them on a missions trip, or they go and work with Habitat for Humanity, or they do something contributory, getting them out of themselves. One of the things that isn't even on here, but you have, we started last year was, and you require it of black belts, and somebody that's going, working on getting their black belt, is doing community service, right? And you look at what that does. It's like, it's not because Mr. John Yarwood wants YMA to get credit in the, in the world out there as, oh, look, he's got his students doing this, this, and this. No, it's for the benefit of knowing that the students get outside of themselves, outside of their regime, learn the skills associated with doing these things that require human interaction.
Yep. Yeah, community service is a big deal. I require it of all of our students. They have to do at least one event of community service every single month. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, feed my starving children, some kind of formal community service. The goal is to be able to give of yourself without any expectation of return, right? To get paid for your work or whatever it is. You should be seeing things that need to be done and going and doing them, just because that's who you are, right? Feed my starving children is awesome. They go on, they fill bags of food and whatever, and they send it off to, places that need that help. But also, maybe your neighbor needs help mowing the yard, right? Maybe they're an elderly person, or they got a broken leg or whatever. Go over and, assist. Maybe your neighborhood has a bunch of litter all over the place. You walk around and pick it up and throw it away, right? Do your part. The point of it is that when you start to do that, when you start to help people, the more you realize you want to do it, right? You start to see things that need your attention, that need somebody to have them taken care of, and you go do it. You don't say, well, he can do it, he's closer, or they can do it, they're better at it, whatever it is, right? No, you step into the fray and you do it. You take care of what needs to get done, and don't go, well, I did that, so I should get credit for it. No, you don't. If you don't get credit, it doesn't matter. You did it. You took care of what you were supposed to take care of. That's all the credit you need. It makes you feel better, that you're taking care of the outside world. And when you start to do that more and more, you start to want to do it more and more, which, creates that whole circular thing. I did more, so I want to do more. I did more, so I want to do more. And that's what we're looking for, to teach these kids that, hey, I have a lot to offer people, and I don't necessarily need to get paid for it. I don't need credit for it. I just want to do it because it makes my world better, and it makes everybody's world better.
I mean, I got asked this morning, delivering when we received the ice cream deliveries at Cullen's this morning. We went to our second location, which is by the river, and it's a community area, and it's a park, and it belongs to the city. And last night we had a storm, And they probably have, I don't know, 20 garbage cans on wheels, the plastic garbage cans. And out of 20, I think 18 of them had blown over and opened up. So while I was waiting for them to load the ice cream onto the cart and then lower it down and bring it to go into the building, I just took it upon myself to walk all the way around, lift them all up, shove the garbage back in. If it fallen out, put them all back, stand them all up. Now, is that my job? No. Is it my city? Yes. Is it my community area? Yes. Does it make a profound difference? Well, of course it does. Because otherwise, animals could get in there, a lot of different things. But the respect I have is I don't want the garbage everywhere. It's why the purpose of the garbage cans are there.
Yep.
And the storm did that. And the least I can do, because nobody's being paid to go and check and see if all the garbages blew over.
Right.
And by the time, how I knew that it had been beneficial, by the time I was lifting the last one up, they were moving the product from the truck into the building. And I got there just at the same time. And it's like, for me, spiritually, it was like, thank you, God. I'm glad I was able to do that. And it was only for me. And, the fact that I felt good about it. I didn't even know I was going to share it today with you. I just saw as an opportunity. Wow, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about something that I didn't get paid for it.
Nope.
I didn't get, nobody came out and took a social media post of me doing it or put me on live stream.
Nobody asked you to do it.
Nobody asked me to do it. And that, I think, is, it's funny because when I was with, and for those of you that are watching, if you go and look at me on LinkedIn, you'll see my background of training. One of the places where I was being trained as a leader for 6 months, one of the missions was you had to go into a bathroom and leave it better than when you went in there. And that was the expectation during this program. Whatever it was you did, whether it was just to wipe the sink, wipe off the extra, wipe off the mirror, do something, pick up the paper towel that people, try to be basketball pros and always miss. And then they don't bend over and pick it up. And, I looked at that and I went, that's what my parents taught me.
Yep.
Right. But parents today are so busy, they don't have time to teach those skills and share with their kids why they're doing it. So I think that's one of the benefits of your martial arts program is it's teaching some of these things that in today's society, parents don't have time for anymore because they're working 2 jobs to pay all the bills, to pay for all the extras, to pay for the $1,000 cell phone for each of their family members. Right? I mean, we've created our own nightmares.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I love the note, and just to reiterate, put them on a schedule.
Yep.
Right? Why not? Some of us say, well, unless I don't want my life to be so controlled. Well, your life is controlled. It's always going to be controlled. It's controlled by needing to make money to be able to pay bills.
If you don't control it, somebody else will.
That's where I was headed, right? It's either you live one of these lives where you are always at the behest of somebody else because they're controlling you and you have no say in the matter, or you take charge.
Yep.
So I know that we have a couple left on here for next week, cultural awareness and fun and enjoyment. So I think, it's a perfect opportunity to pause now and come back next week and share on those and kind of wrap up this parent reasons for parents wanting their kids to join martial arts. Anything else you want to say in closing?
I just, for me, it's not an activity for your students. It's not just something they go to. They don't just go to karate, right? While that might be what you say, if you're not seeing the bigger picture, the bigger value of what we offer, then you're missing out. You're missing out bigly. There's so many other opportunities for your child to be learning what we're doing, all right? And if you're paying attention, those lessons are there, and we teach them every single class, every single moment. There's something to be learned, and we just want to make sure that everybody is getting out of it what we put into it. We want to make sure that all of our kids are getting the experience, getting the value, getting what it is that we're teaching. Because if all you look at is a physical activity, then that's all it's going to be, and your kid is not going to learn what they're needing to learn. So I encourage parents to minimally be involved in the process and not just sitting there, not listening, not paying attention. Wherever you are, pay attention to your kids. They want you to be part of their lives, not just dropping them off and picking them up. I know it's a big ask, but your kids need you.
Yes, they do. Thank you so much, Mr. Yarwood. Thank you, everybody who has popped in, and over to Isaac Gregory Amoa, who is in Ghana in Africa, who popped in and listened, to Jeremy Franklin, who's in Virginia. Thank you for popping in and watching the live. And those of you that have been watching this on Twitter, which is now called X. And thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you that continue to watch this going forward over the next few weeks, we really do appreciate it. And we look forward to answering some more of the questions that we have about why martial arts. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. Whoop, whoop. See you next week.
See you guys next time.